The Koss Porta Pro is a pair of headphones that seem to have cracked the code when it comes to staying relevant and popular with multiple demographics, despite having quite a few flaws that people just seem to ignore. They are popular with many just because of nostalgia, as they came out in 1984 and have gone on for 40 years mostly unchanged. They are also popular with the younger crowd and have sometimes been referred to as TikTok headphones because of their cool retro appeal and being showcased in some TikToks. But what about the audiophiles and audio enthusiast group? Those of us who are very critical when headphones aren't tuned very well, or are uncomfortable, or just especially despise on-ear headphones that flatten and crush your ears. Well, we still love the Porta Pro for some reason. Instead of finding something else that we know we would probably prefer sound-wise, we just tweak and modify the Porta Pro to fit our preferences a bit more. Well, after all these years, Koss finally made a true upgrade to the Porta Pro, the Porta Pro Wireless 2. One that is actually wireless this time. Now, I purchased this Porta Pro myself. Despite all the hints that I tried to nudge at Koss that I wanted one, I bought one since this was genuinely one of the most anticipated releases of the year for me. And since I received mine, it has become my daily driver headphone that I use just around the house or when I'm just relaxing on my phone. Design-wise, it is of course very similar to the standard Porta Pro, with a simple metal headband that slides to adjust for size. You'll notice though that the headband on this one is split, whereas the normal model is more of a solid headband. The reason for that is because the receiver and electronics for the wireless features are all housed within the right arm. The previous wireless Porta Pro had the receiver hanging from a wire between the two drivers and was meant to hang behind your neck while wearing it. The new Porta Pro Wireless instead uses the metal headband itself to connect the left driver and the receiver. This gives it an overall cleaner look and is able to keep the classic Porta Pro design. Also, like the classic Porta Pro, the arms are able to fold inward, allowing you to curl the headphones into a circle and store them in the included carrying case. When it comes to the wireless features, they decided to keep it very simple, which I do actually appreciate. They did add a small mic, and on the right side of where the receiver is, it has a power button and a positive and negative button, which can be used to adjust the volume or skip tracks. Sadly, it only supports SBC and AAC codecs. But if those are the only codecs that it supports, why would I say that this is an upgrade over the standard Porta Pro? Because the USB charging port also doubles as an analog port. It comes with a USB-C to 3.5mm cable, and it doesn't need to be powered on to use it, unlike a lot of other wireless headphones. You simply plug it in and it works like any other fully analog Porta Pro. This also means that when the battery eventually does die, it'll still be able to be used like any other headphone. Now, for the sound of the Porta Pro Wireless, it really is just like any other Porta Pro, which, as many of you probably know, is often regarded as very warm and dark sounding. This does change with clamp and pads, among other changes, and that is part of where the love for these headphones in the audiophile scene comes from. Many do love them in their stock form, just because of how light and small they seem, while also delivering quite a lot of bass. But I, like many others, do prefer them to have a bit more top end and preferably a bit less bass emphasis. As I said before, clamp force is a big factor for this. And when the Porta Pro comes stock, it is very clampy. One thing I do is I bend the metal part of the headband to be more straight, closer to the arms. This gives the headband less of a round shape and more of a head sort of shape. It also allows the temple pads to sit more comfortably on my head and relieve a bit more pressure from my ears. The other effect of reducing the clamp is the bass decreases and the upper mids fill in more. On top of that, of course, I had to put Yaxi pads on it. Yaxi pads are an aftermarket pad that have been around for years. They have a larger surface area to help distribute the pressure on your ears better. As well, they are also thicker and softer than the stock pads. And they do also have an effect on the sound, slightly increasing the treble so it doesn't sound as dark and also helps to balance out the mid-bass. With these changes, the Porta Pro is able to sound less muffled and just clear overall. And then the final mod that I do is I just add a slight bit more foam to the temple pads to extend the reach after adding the Yaxi pads, which are a little bit thicker than the stock. Those are all rather minimal mods that can be reversed, but the Porta Pro has decades in this community with mods ranging from damping foam, drilling out more holes in the front cover in front of the driver, or even gluing the comfort zone switches so that it doesn't change position for you. Check out Zio's coverage of the Porta Pro Wireless for that one. Really, the Porta Pro and Porta Pro Wireless are headphones that, in the enthusiast community, shouldn't be as popular as they are. Yet, it's more popular now than ever, even after 40 years. For many, these were their first good headphones that they ever had. For others, they just love how they look, and then others just enjoy the modding scene. Whatever the reason, I can say that these are a pair of flawed headphones that I also seem to be able to just ignore their flaws and forget being a headphone reviewer for a minute. Instead, just enjoying the music as we all should be.